About a week ago, Tekken 8 revealed the final DLC character for Season 2, and she's been controversial, to say the least. Let's talk about it. What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. I'm LotusAsakura, the one who never knows best. And in today's video, I want to talk to you guys all about Miary Zo, the brand new character from Madagascar that will be joining the Tekken 8 roster as the final character of Season 2. Now, I did my initial reaction and first impression, whatever, to the character when she initially got revealed at Evo. That video will probably be linked as a title card or something at the end of this video if you'd like to check that out. But basically, my first impressions of her was that she's gorgeous. I think she's incredibly pretty. She looks stunning. I'm excited to check her out whenever she does get around to releasing, which will likely be sometime around December if I had to take a guess, since Armor King will be releasing in the middle of October. She probably released sometime in December would be my guess or my estimate. That being said, I think she looks incredible, right? And I'm happy to report that the controversy surrounding this character does not stem from a racist standpoint where people are like, oh, I don't want black characters in my game or anything like that. In fact, it's ironically quite the opposite, where people are basically making the argument that she doesn't look black enough. Now, what makes this even more interesting is that a lot of the people who are making this argument aren't necessarily, some of them aren't black themselves, and even the ones who are don't necessarily hail from Madagascar. And so I got a lot of different tweets pulled up, thoughts and opinions of my own that I want to share, thoughts and opinions and feelings of the community that I'd like to share and get across. But we'll start off this by saying that this is her initial design. I thought she looked great personally, and I was a big fan. I thought she looked really pretty. However, I'll say this, as we move on, you'll see that we can actually take a look at her concept art here that was tweeted out officially by Tekken. And so here on the side, you can see that we have basically another render of the character, same pose and everything, but slightly different lighting, whatever, cool. But then we see her concept art. And I would agree, as a lot of people have been saying, that her concept art actually looks even better than what her in-game model looks. And there are some noticeable differences between the concept art and the actual character model. If we just pull this up side by side like this, you can see, to my eyes, right, her hair in the concept art looks a little bit more textured. Skin tone is noticeably darker, I would argue as well. I would also make the argument that her lips maybe even look a little bit thicker, the nose a little bit wider, and these are features that clearly make her stand out a little bit more as African, one would say, right? Tekken has been getting scrutinized. This has happened in the past, but it's obviously a hot topic of conversation right now, for being, people are basically saying that Tekken 8 has a lot of same face syndrome, where a lot of the female characters kind of all share this same face, and I think there's some validity there. And that's something else that I kind of want to add to this, is that while I do think that certain conversations surrounding this character have kind of gotten blown out of proportion and things have kind of gone a little bit too far, I do think that there was valid criticism here. Because like I said, even though my initial impression was that, oh, she's super pretty, she looks really, really good, the concept art does look even better. And I think that a lot of people would agree that this looks what you would typically consider more accurate to what you expect from somebody from Madagascar, right? That being said, there are tons of different looks from people in Madagascar, and we'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, obviously skin tone, she's a little bit lighter, the nose is a little bit more sleek and slender and smaller, the lips seem to me a little bit thinner, the hair is smoother, and I do think that while these both look great, I would have preferred for it to be closest to the concept art. So people who are making that argument, I get you, I feel you, I'm with you on that. However, it doesn't really end there, because if we start taking a look at some tweets, there are some people who express, mild concern or slight disappointment with whatever, like this tweet, who I think is a perfectly fine tweet from Quiet Face Miles, player and commentator in the Tekken community, who says, I really love the decision to shine light on Madagascar, but I think the face in the model should have not been changed to look more cute or baby face. Her concept is gorgeous and her features are beautiful. Please fix it and do her right. And this is a common sentiment that you would begin to see throughout the community and on Twitter, where basically people were saying oh, she looks great, but the concept art was incredible. It really should have leaned more into that. And then you have some tweets where it's just yo, a bunch of question marks, basically insinuating what's going on here? She don't look nothing like her concept art. And I think even with it side by side like this, you can see even more clearly the differences in their face, right? Again, both look great. Concept art a little bit better in my opinion, a little bit more unique as well, right? We move on, these start getting some other tweets like this. My only critique with Miary is that I wish she was modeled with more Afrocentric features, similar to her design and the concept art. She's still gorgeous, but I just wish she looked a bit closer to it. Now, these are people who are expressing themselves pretty constructively, very nicely. There were some who weren't as nice. There's this tweet from Tommy Kaido who says, ain't nobody from Madagascar look like that. But what's interesting about this is that if you move on, you'll see this tweet, which I found ironic, from somebody by the name of Tekken Underground. It says, y'all eat Namco's femme clone slop for breakfast. Miyazu doesn't look Madagascan, which you don't refer to them as Madagascan. It would be Malagasy. as I have learned from doing a little bit of just the bare minimum amount of reading around from people actually from Madagascar. And Tekken's photorealism fell apart after Tekken 6. And like, call me crazy. Again, like, nose a bit wider. Obviously her eyebrows are a bit more angled because of her makeup, whatever. Lips a little bit thicker, but like, this girl looks a lot like Miary Zo. Like, I don't know, like, you know, and this is, in case you can't tell, let me scroll down. Her sash says Miss Madagascar. And obviously, yeah, like, she's got some waves to her hair. Like I said, her lips are a bit thicker, her eyebrows are angled. I think that's obviously, you know, more to do with her makeup and everything and contouring and stuff like that. But yeah, like, I don't think Miary Zo's design looks incredibly far off from this. Now, is it like accurate? No, because again, this, if you were to make a comparison between this woman and the concept art versus the in-game model, she clearly looks more like the concept art. But I don't think it's like a massive difference to where like it should have spawned like outrage like it has from some people. But again, I understand, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here with it. If they want to make her look more true to the concept art, I would think that'd be a major bonus, you know what I'm saying? Moving on, we have this tweet right here. So I mentioned before that Tekken has been criticized in the past about having same face syndrome. And this tweet is actually from back in April. Like, this is before we even get to Evo and the reveal of Miary Zo, right? And I mean, how many of these are 9 different female faces from Tekken, and some of them look pretty similar. Like, it could be pretty difficult to tell who was who. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Tekken doesn't suffer from a little bit of same face syndrome. I can tell some of these apart. This one's clearly Asuka, which I can tell by her lack of a neck. This one is Alyssa, just because she has kind of even more of like a softer look to her face that I can tell. This is Reina, which I play Reina, so I'm just used to seeing her. This is clearly Zafina. I mean, the eyeshadow was a big giveaway here. This one down here in the bottom left is clearly Anna. This one in the middle, I'm really not super sure, if I'm being honest. I want to say June or Xiao Yu, just because of the skin tone more than anything. This is Nina, and this is Lily. And again, the eyes are a big giveaway here for me. So there's a couple here where I'm not sure, but I can look at this as somebody who plays the game and see the difference and immediately tell with some of them. Some of them not so much. Like this one in the middle, I would confidently say it's June or Xiao Yu, but I can't honestly tell which one it is. You know what I'm saying? And then did I say this one right here? You got me. I don't know. I actually don't know. Like I'm without a shadow of a doubt, that one's Asuka. Without a shadow of a doubt, this one's Anna. Pretty confident that's Nina. That's definitely Lou. That's definitely Zafina. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm pretty sure that's Alyssa. So like some of these I can tell right away. And this is, I'm pretty sure that one's Reina. But there's a couple here where I'm not super confident, but you can see clearly that, you know, they do have some similar faces. Oh, wait, no, you know, this is Lydia. This is Lydia. Because now I think about it, Lydia has more of like a kind of a tougher look to her. Almost, I don't want to say more masculine, but she doesn't quite look as babyified as some of the other characters. Like you look at Asuka and Alyssa up here in comparison, like she just has her facial features are a little bit stronger. But again, it's not like these are massive, super distinct differences. In fact, like I said, some of them I can just tell because of their eyeshadow. I just know that this one's obviously Zafina and this one's obviously Lily, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I get it. Tekken does suffer from a little bit of same face, or even a lot of same face syndrome. And, you know, Miary Zo does kind of have a little bit with that as well. Obviously, her skin tone would be a super big giveaway because she is, I would like clearly say, the darkest skin colored female in Tekken 8, right? Obviously, we don't have Master Raven anymore, so she would take the cake with that. But yeah, I do think that as Tekken has gone on as a franchise, we are starting to see homogenization of not just the characters and their play styles, but also even their facial features. Like Asuka is a character who, she looks super baby face, like Japanese schoolgirl here, which I guess she is a Japanese schoolgirl, but she used to have a much more like tomboy look to her that made her a little bit more distinct and unique and more recognizable that she doesn't really have anymore. And the whole neck thing, I don't really understand where her neck went either. But yeah, continuing on, we have other tweets like this that come from a Twitter user named Tekken Madagascar 1. And this is somebody, I mean, you can see their name, you see the flags, you see the bio. This is a community of players from Madagascar. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's just one individual or multiple people running this account, but this is a representation of the opinions and the perspective or perception of people from Madagascar, right? And you can see, we can't believe it. It's really happening. Thank you from the bottom of our heart. We love you. She is so beautiful. Arigato gozaimasu, which y'all know what that means in Japanese. It means thank you very much, whatever. Incredibly excited. They over the moon. The Madagascar community, or the Malagasy community, is head over heels about the announcement of Miary Zo. They are extremely excited and happy to be included in the game, to have representation in the game, to have a character that represents them and their country and everything. Like, people are just really excited about that. So to me, it was very ironic and interesting to see only people who weren't from Madagascar or don't have Malagasy blood in them be critical of her design, because the people who are actually from Madagascar weren't very critical of it at all. They were just happy to be included. Now, does that mean necessarily that you can't be critical of it or that there isn't valid criticism? No. Again, I want to stress that even though I think this design looks good and I understand the excitement of the Madagascar community being happy about being included, yeah, the concept art did look a little bit better. I'll give you that for sure. Tekken 8 does suffer from some same face syndrome. It could have definitely made her features a little bit more unique. That's all valid. It was just interesting that, like, I saw, and again, I showed some of the kinder ones, but I saw some hostile tweets to some extent of people criticizing Bandai Namco and Tekken and Harada and Nakatsu and Michael Murray and you know, the whole nine about y'all just making her look like everybody else. She's whitewashed. This is like, she's, you know what I'm saying? It's like, she's not unique at all. This is slop. This is gooner bait, blah, like the whole nine, you know what I'm saying? People was taking it all the way to 11, and it's just like, well, the people of Madagascar are really happy. Like, y'all are mad for them. They not even upset. You know what I'm saying? So I personally just found that very interesting. And I do think that out of everyone, their opinion should matter the most. And it's not like, you know, Harada and Michael Murray and those guys didn't do their due diligence. Like, they took a trip to Madagascar to learn about the culture and see what the people there were like and how they looked, and did their research. And this is the design that they came up with. And you'll see that if we go through some more tweets, these are examples of women from Madagascar. This is a tweet again from the Tekken Madagascar account. Many people don't know it, but the Malagasy are a mix of Asian, Indonesian, and African. So they are going to have features that are African. They're going to have features that are Asian. They're going to have, you know what I'm saying? So it's not just like one distinct, oh, she has to look black or she has to look Asian. It's going to be a combination of those, right? And if you look at these women, we'll finish reading the tweet. Wendy Catalina, a local famous singer, is a perfect example to contest your point. Those are Malagasy girls. It's not a minority at all. And yeah, so, you know, some people are obviously making the argument that like her nose isn't big enough or her skin isn't nearly dark enough. But as you can see, these women, they don't all look exactly the same, and they're not all like super dark skinned or anything like that. And they do look like a combination of, you know, black and Asian and, you know what I'm saying, and Indonesian. So it's like, it's not just, there's not just one look. There's not just like one specific look that is going to make somebody look like they're from Madagascar, because it's pretty diverse from what I can tell. By the way, in case I forgot to mention, I'm not from Madagascar. I am not, I don't have those origins in me either. You know what I'm saying? I've tried to trace back my roots to Africa. The most I found is that like if I can go back far enough, I might have roots in Ghana, but Madagascar wasn't part of my bloodline when I looked this up when I was 12 years old or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So let me just say that as well. But anyway, that being said, it doesn't, from my understanding, there's not just like one distinct look or a certain type of feature that's going to set them apart, or like, oh, that's the Madagascar look. You know what I'm saying? And that being said, Miary Zo doesn't seem far off from it. But even the Madagascar account themselves, oh, by the way, this was in reply to the Tommy Kyra tweet, you know, would acknowledge that if they could make her look closer to the concept art, even better. You know what I'm saying? So we have this tweet here, which is again from a Madagascar player, co-founder and leader of this. Okay, this might actually be the person who runs the account. I mean, that's almost identical. Like this is this is a woman from Madagascar that, like, it even down to the clothes, like the colors and everything, like that's almost 1-to-1. Like that woman looks exactly like her. Like even the hair, you know what I'm saying? Like now whether her hair is like flat ironed or whatever, if that's her natural texture, I don't know. But regardless, like the only argument you can really make here is that, I mean, obviously the eye color, but that might have something to do lore wise with why her eyes are that color, which personally, I love that color. And I think it looks incredible on her. Which obviously this is not a realistic eye color, but the only argument I guess you can make is that maybe her nose isn't wide enough, which again is something that I acknowledge already. They could make her nose a little bit bigger and make her look a little bit more of the African descent, right? But it's not like this is far off from what a real woman from there could look like. Then moving on, we have this tweet that comes from Dexerto, which Tekken 8's new character Miary Zo is making headlines in Africa for helping keep a centuries-old martial art from Madagascar alive. Devs traveled there to study Malagasy history, explore ancient ruins, and learn from locals to make sure she honored their culture. And as you can see here, making headlines in the newspaper because of this character. And if we move on here, you can see, again, a tweet from the Tekken Madagascar account, national impact by Miary Zo. Feedback from Malagasy gamers has been very positive. All it needs is a little tweaking to make the face look a bit closer to the concept art with stronger defining features, and she will be perfect. And then you can see here, not only gamers, but everyone in the community, or everyone in the country, in Malagasy communities abroad, are happily amazed by the new character. And as you can see here, making again headlines in the newspaper, the screenshot of the character here. I obviously do not read this language, but from my understanding, it seems like everyone's very, very excited about this character, you know, that lives in Madagascar. So Yeah, matter of fact, I haven't actually listened to this myself. Let me go ahead and check this out. Okay, well, I can't understand the language. I assumed that they were going to be speaking their own language, but I wanted to listen to it just for a moment to see if they were speaking English and if there's anything that I could understand that they were saying. But yeah, like I said, it's interesting that so many people were up in arms about her look and everything, and it's like, well, the people who actually are from there say that she kind of looks like people from there, and like, yeah, sure, they can make some tweaks to her, make her look even better, but they were just happy to be included in the first place. However, all that being said, we get to this tweet right here. Just tweaking now, also fixing a bug where character proportions like Asuka's and others are being incorrectly compiled with the same values, hoping to get that sorted in the next patch. Tweeted from Harada on August 8th, 5 days after her initial reveal. And if you take a look here, I've seen some people saying they don't see a difference at all, or some people saying it's just lighting, but to my eye, personally, this does look a little bit different. Now, it definitely could be lighting. Lighting obviously plays a huge difference, but like, to me, I don't quite know what it is. If it's something about like her bone structure, like with her cheekbones, or if the nose is a little bit wider, and maybe it's just because we're more zoomed in, but the lips do look full. And I feel like, I don't know, is it maybe this is the way that her hair is framing her face? Something about like her facial structure or like bone structure does look different to me personally. Now, did it actually change at all? Or is it just the lighting? I can't really say, but based off this tweet, even if these aren't actual changes that were made, and it's just like, I don't know, placebo or just like perspective or, you know, different angles or the lighting or whatever the case may be, regardless of all of that, in the tweet, it says tweaking now, also fixing a bug with character proportions. This is interesting because I'm assuming this means that they're finally fixing Asuka's neck. I don't know why it took so long. Like, we're a year and a half into this game, but sure. And yeah, so like I said, to my eye, it looks like she has changed in some capacity. I can't quite put my finger on it, but she does look different. Okay. And then you get this tweet from the Tekken Madagascar. Oh my God, she's so pretty and clearly a bit closer to the concept art. I think it's the first time in Tekken's history that Harada has ever leaked such informative images of a character in development himself. Are you as excited as we are for release? And this was the subject of a lot of positive reception from a lot of the community, where people were saying, oh my God, she looks so much better. Shout out to you guys for listening to our feedback, so on and so forth. After a lot of people, you know, cried for, I don't want to say cried, that's a negative connotation, but basically like pled for her to be tweaked and be a little bit closer to her concept art. Now, what I will say is that I don't necessarily think she looks that much closer to her concept art, because again, like the hair texture, the skin tone, those are obviously to me the two biggest things that like make her stand out from her concept art. The nose and mouth as well, like the nose and lips. But like I need to see more, and I can't wait to see what she looks like in motion and see if they make any more changes to her and so on and so forth. There were a couple of the tweets that I had in here. I thought I had these all in the order that I wanted to show them, but this is a little bit out of order now that I'm looking at it. But if we tap over, yeah, we have this tweet here, which this right here made its rounds, got a lot of attention, and as you can see, almost 2,000 retweets and 17,000 likes and almost 1 million views. Here we have a user by the name of the Cartel Dell, who, as you can tell from his bio, is an artist and is a professor of arts. So that's their background. Previously worked at Naughty Dog, Respawn, Warner Bros, Sega, PlayStation, and they love Tekken. And they digitally altered Miary Zo's concept, or not concept art, but like, you know, in-game model, like render or image or whatever, to look closer to the concept art. So again, more texture to the hair, making it look curlier, wavier. Definitely did a little bit of something here with the nose. I think the lips look a little bit thicker, especially the upper lip. I definitely see a difference there. And of course, made the skin tone darker. Now, here's what I will say. Again, I think the original version of her is already a very beautiful girl, okay? However, this right here, clap it up, clap it up. Yeah, he snapped. He definitely snapped. And this actually makes her look much closer to her actual concept art. As you can see, we can scroll up and down. Yeah, that looks much more accurate to her original depiction. And many people thought that this looked incredible. This received a lot of praise, a lot of retweets for a reason. People were like, yo, if she looks like this when she comes out in the game, we got no complaints. That's incredible. And then here's just like another tweet of somebody doing a before and after comparison of her in-game model compared to what she looks like on that menu screen. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's something about like her cheekbones being bigger, like her face being wider. And again, like a lot of this could be lighting or whatever. Now I'm looking at side by side. Maybe her upper lip does look a little bit thicker. I could be reaching. Eyebrows are more defined, but that's, you know, because we're in a totally, different part of the game or whatever. So I don't know. I do feel like I see a difference. It's not like a major difference, but it is a difference. And if they're going to continue to tweak it and everything, I think people will be pretty happy for the most part. that they're listening to any sort of feedback regarding this. And she's several months away from release, so she's very clearly still in development. And I think tweaking her visual design is something that they're more than capable of and are basically telling us that they're willing to do. So yeah, man, that's pretty much it. This is Miary Zo. I think regardless of what her final version ends up looking like when she releases, this is a character that I think is, like I said, very attractive, that I think is going to be super, super cool, that the Madagascar community is very happy about and very proud of. And I think the finished product, whenever she does release, will be pretty well received by the majority of people, even if she does suffer from a little bit of that same face syndrome right now. But like I said, there's definitely a constructive way to form your criticism and to make your voices be heard. And because people are making their voices heard, they are tweaking it a little bit more. But like I said, the people of Madagascar were already really happy with how she was in the first place. That being said, doesn't mean that she can't be even better than she already is, because even they themselves said, hey, if they make it a little bit closer to the concept art, they should be perfect. That being said, though, those are pretty much all my thoughts, opinions, and feelings, everything that I want to discuss today in this video in regards to Miary Zo. I'm looking forward to her quite a lot. I'm not familiar with Malagasy martial arts at all. I've been hearing people say that she's going to be some sort of boxer, a kickboxer. I might have to look around and see if I can find videos of this martial art in action, actually, and see what it looks like. Right, because I remember, so I looked it up, and I remember seeing that Merengue, forgive me if my pronunciation is off. Obviously, like I said, I don't hail from there, and I don't have any origins or roots there, so I'm not familiar with the language and all the pronunciations, but Merengue is an unarmed, bare-fisted striking style of traditional martial art from Madagascar. Participation in this combat form was originally limited to young women, providing them opportunity to gain prestige and test their abilities, while allowing elders to judge their physical skills. Participants are called kirabole or kirabo. Yeah, again, forgive me for my pronunciation, but today the sport is no longer restricted by gender. So yeah, I'm gonna actually look up some videos and see if I can see what this fighting style is kind of like, because I am very interested in Miary Zo. She's a character that just based off the visual design is very appealing to me. That being said, that's gonna wrap up today's video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit this video with a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already, so you can stay tuned for all the awesome content left and I'm bringing you. With all that being said, that's pretty much all I have today. And remember, nothing can happen to you swing the bat. Later.